Hello, and welcome back to my Beautiful Books review series, where we take a look at some amazing editions of celebrated works and the beautiful physical special editions and give you a brief overview of both. As always, this won't be a deep dive into things like themes, it's more of a thought starter to give you my opinion having read it again recently and then to get you interested in potentially exploring the editions and the works themselves. Today we're looking at a double helping of Dark Souls by luxury books publisher Tune and Fairweather. Dark Souls for the uninitiated is an incredibly popular series of third-person action RPG games by Japanese developers From Software and has gone on to inspire its own subgenre of games, Souls-likes, and countless imitators and innovators which have sought to put their own twist on the addictive formula. One of the most interesting things about From Software is their approach to storytelling, or potentially their lack thereof. Beyond a handful of cutscenes, the original Dark Souls in particular is famed and beloved for its lack of linear, conventional storytelling. Much of its themes, central characters, and conflicts are slowly extracted by the player through environmental storytelling and item descriptions. Dark Souls, set in the kingdom of Lordran, wants you to uncover its clues by exploring its world and long-forgotten triumphs and tragedies. So the books here offer actually quite an interesting conflict or contradiction by their mere existence. If Dark Souls wants you to uncover its secrets itself and make your own experiences and impact on its world, these books offering lore and opinion on the nature of the world and others' experiences is seemingly in conflict with that. I'll offer two counterpoints to the seeming incongruity. First, these are books for people who have already played the game, possibly even multiple times. Even though these are the cheapest versions available of the books, Tune and Fairweather offer multiple editions which vary in price. You are unlikely to shell out £70 for both on a whim, at least I wouldn't. These are a deep, extensive look at Dark Souls' world and community, and while Dark Souls is in part defined by its mystery, you are most likely ready to learn more if you are looking at these editions. I'd also offer the idea that Dark Souls is in part defined by its sense of community. While on the surface a very lonely, melancholy journey through Lordran and its dying settlements in rural lands, Dark Souls offers integrated co-op through its messaging system and bloodstains. If you have an online connection, while you journey, you will come across other players' messages which have been left for you, warning of enemies or treasures ahead, and you can leave other players' messages of your own, which will appear in their world. You can also activate bloodstains to see where other players have fallen foul of From Software's enticing and sometimes ganky game design. You can even have other players join your game to aid you in your journey. You can join theirs in turn to offer a little bit of reprieve and help even the battlefield against sometimes impossible odds. Dark Souls is defined by its community of explorers and lorers, and so it seems definitely apt to hear from them about their own experiences and just how much Lordran has touched them, what they take away from it personally, as well as the story of Lordran itself. So there's been much context for this one, I know. I think Dark Souls is just so fascinating in terms of its own presentation and community that's mortared around it that it warrants a bit of extra spraff. So apologies for that. We will finally kind of get into the editions themselves. So the editions that you can see here are from Tune and Fairweather, an Irish luxury books publisher. You Died, the hardcover, is from 2020, and Abyssal Archive, the softcover, is from 2024. Please note my edition of You Died is a second printing, which is from 2022. So what is the distinction then? Why have both? Let's get a little more clarity on that, starting with You Died. You Died has the subheader of the Dark Souls Companion and is a series of essays on the different areas of Dark Souls' integrated map, roughly ordered in the order that players will reach them in Dark Souls. Dark Souls is an open world game though, so this order of locations visited is obviously player dependent and playthrough dependent. This is not about the lore of Dark Souls. Authors Keza MacDonald and Jason Killingsworth, amazing name by the way, take readers through their experiences with each of the areas, weaving in stories from their personal lives when playing them, and also incorporating tales from other members of the community, notably lore experts like the much beloved From Software lorist, Vada Vidya. The prose is slick and informative, at times moving and deeply personal, and if this was printed on bark, I'd still recommend it on content alone. However, it's a beautiful edition of the book. This is the Way of the White hardcover edition, a nod to one of the Covenant's players can join in-game. It has this gorgeous white and gold external presentation with an intersecting title and textured cover. Please note there is a hardcover version of this in black and silver as well, and a cheaper softcover edition available. Inside, each chapter has a beautifully drawn plate, and the book is interspersed with images from in-game which are fully book's text is printed in red and black throughout. The pages are thick and smooth, feel great to the touch, and the binding is solid. My edition also has a gold ribbon marker, so you may never be lost in the rich journey of the book. If only we had such a clear marker in game. I've said before, this isn't the lore of Dark Souls, and it isn't, at least in the conventional sense. But it will take you on a journey through the game world, but it is much more a community exploration. However, it is just as rich and just as good as reminding you that you never journey alone, in Lordran or in life. At the time of recording, this edition is unfortunately not available from the official Tune in Fairweather website, but the softcover edition is, and retails for an extremely reasonable £22 in the UK where I am based. Prices of course will vary for you. The edition I have is available by resellers, but prices will vary. Abyssal Archive. My edition of Abyssal Archive is the base, cheapest edition of this book. There is a beautiful version, which is a multi-book version available on their website, which contains a slipcase and a map and just looks absolutely incredible. But it is also 5 times the price of this edition, and it's just not something that I can afford right now. But maybe you can, and maybe this will be enough to pique your interest in spending that a little bit more. Abyssal Archive is unlike You Died, a mythology or lore compendium. Like You Died, this is an unofficial work, not endorsed by From Software, but Loki is eloquent and thoroughly comprehensive in his research and analysis, and he offers a really in-depth and convincing argument to his interpretations. The book also features numerous full-page images drawn as opposed to You Died's in-game images from a variety of artists, and it's printed in black and gold throughout. This is a cheaper edition than You Died, so it is slightly less high quality in print quality by contrast, but it's still very nice to feel. The pages are thick and smooth, and I love the gold mosaic style binding with some of the game's fan favourite characters and most loathed villains. At the time of recording, this edition is still available from the website for a well worth it £31 in the UK where I'm based, but of course prices will vary for you. Thanks for watching this video, and hopefully I've piqued your interest. The takeaway for this video is these are really interesting, thoughtful and high quality explorations of Dark Souls' rich world and community, and as a fan of the series and an unashamed book nerd, I really do highly recommend them. I also want to say that even though I haven't had a chance to get them yet, Tune in Fairweather also offers editions covering Bloodborne, Demon's Souls, and of course the most recent offering from Software, Elden Ring. I will most likely cover these in a future video, but I haven't got them yet. I also want to note that I'm not sponsored in any way, and all the opinions featured in this video are my own. Thank you so much for watching. It really does mean a lot, and enjoy the rest of your day.